you and TM, and I can name so many on the stage. And so I just wanted to remind you, sometimes leaders need to be poured back into. And I love your transparency. And I just wanted to remind you that you are one of the most generous, thoughtful people that I've met so far. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Marjorie. And I think that's why it hurt me to begin with, because I really do. That is always my intention, is to be generous. And when somebody came back and said they didn't feel that way, I was like, but. I'm like, no, okay. And Trey, 30 seconds. And then Deborah's been like mad. So just 30.
Okay. Thanks. Mary Lynn, I just want to give you a high freaking five, and I want to tell you I love your perspective. And sis, when you have haters, sound love, great. Listening audience, haters mean that you have done something to cause a ripple in the world. So, sis, I am so proud of you that if you weren't doing something big, then you would not have haters. So I love your perspective. I love you, celebrate, and keep leaning into the amazingness of Justin.
Okay, I just want to say real quick. Yeah, I agree with TM. You are a leader, and sometimes, you with the saying, "So much that is given, much is required." So it comes with territory. So don't feel like it's a bad about it. Feel good about being able to respond. I know it's easy for us to say, well, these people need to examine themselves and they need to work on themselves and we need to do all those kinds of things. Yes, that's true. But you are the leader. And so I think it's a badge of honor that you feel the way you do. And I just wanted to say you're not alone. So just because they feel that way is not always directed at you, because all of us are on the stage. So it could be somebody else that made them feel that way. So don't take it personally, and just know that you're a leader and these things come with leadership. So don't worry about it. And I think you're doing a great job. Thank you so much. And I have actually welcomed that challenge. And actually, I say tongue in cheek, I have a hater. I don't think there's truly any hate. I think there's just a bit of, I don't know what the word is, but never hate, never hate. I say it in jest. I am celebrating. I appreciate all the feedback. I appreciate the lesson. I'm really more excited about the lesson and how I handled it. I'm proud of myself. I think it's okay to say that. So with that, Dr. Janie, who I got to meet in person, and listen, when we meet people in person, they never disappoint. And Dr. Janie, it was amazing to connect with you IRL.
Oh, good morning, Mary Lynn, and good morning, Breakfast with Champions. And it was an absolute pleasure and delight to meet you as well. And you never disappoint. As I told you and gave you your flowers in person, that you're so genuine and just authentic, and just such a great storyteller, and all the things, and just so proud to call you friend. And as I'm listening to you this morning, because I can't multitask, if someone could help me and just change my link, I would greatly appreciate it. Just put my link tree. But, as I was listening this morning, I don't know all that was going on. I'm kind of in the dark, but I did hear a couple of comments that I thought were a perfect segue to what I wanted to talk about today. And I want to kind of recap a few things, because I actually enjoyed this conversation, because Mary Lynn is so authentic and so genuine. The conversation just flows with just being exactly that. So, a couple of things that I heard a few people say, and I'm not going to necessarily call out names because I was hearing voices, not necessarily sure who was saying what. But, when you were sharing the 4 agreements, the one lesson that I was taking from that is that we have to have a value system. So, good morning, TM and Mike and River. Trisha, when we have our value system, whether it's coming from our self-work, things that we're reading, or as Mary Lynn so eloquently and beautifully shared, the 4 agreements, it gives us a baseline to how we are going to show up in this world, Erica, on Clubhouse, which is so important. But I think I want to say, I believe it was Rocky. I also believe that at times, depending on the situation, and I'm saying this on purpose because I don't know the situation that everyone was talking about, but there was a lesson that I pulled out from that. As we probably could not have turned on a television or social media to know recently with the whole Cat Williams addressing some of the things that were said about him on the platform Shay Shay, right? So there was a certain level that I took from that I'm going to tie into what I heard this morning, and that is accountability. And as TM mentioned, we don't want to go and react. We want to strategize and think about, for one, is this something I need to address? And is this something that I need to hold this person accountable? Again, not knowing all the details. Or is it something that is beneath me? And as I think I heard someone mentioned, as the Bible says, we don't argue with fools. So when you think about addressing certain things, I do believe certain things do need to be addressed, certain things need to be ignored, and certain things don't even need to be acknowledged. But at times, especially if we are a people pleaser and we tend to have more codependent type tendencies, we want people to like us, or we want people to, or we will be sensitive towards feedback. But there's an opportunity that I believe for us to deal with and learn conflict resolution skills appropriately by addressing whatever the conflict may be. But we also have to be aware, and I believe it was Dora Maria's lovely voice, we have to have self-awareness, right? Self-awareness is going to be asking ourselves, well, why do I need to address this? What am I feeling? Is there any truth to this? And good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Janie Lacy, and I am here getting ready to talk to you about, as we move into another year, about how to create a better life. And I'm using some points that I heard this morning from Mary Lynn to kind of kick us off. That's what I'm talking about. Just saw your message. So when we're talking about self-awareness, as Dora Maria has said, sometimes we're going to project onto people, or we're going to project onto situations because it's coming from our experiences, it's coming from our little circle in the world as we're going around with our little bubbles of our beliefs, our experiences, our thoughts, all of our learnings, all of that stuff comes together in how we project onto the world. And sometimes we can project onto the people, places, and things to how we think we should show up, or how we should act, or what we would do, or what we would think. That's not always the case. So again, great segment. Address it appropriately. Don't argue with fools. Be self-aware and be conscious of when you're projecting your own stuff to other people. So let's get to it. How do we want to create a better life? How do we want to create a better life, Mindy? Right? When we think Judith and Tarika, as we are listening and we're all here early morning before we get our day started, we want to give this first fruits of the day to ourselves. So I'm going to give you some basic steps. I believe in practicality. I want you to take away some things, and I want you to really think about, if I'm here in 2024 and I'm in the same place that I was in 2023, having the same goal, saying the same thing, feeling the same way, then it's time to do something different. It's time to disrupt our own life and do something different. So the very first thing is we have to, if you watch my TED Talk, Breaking the Chains of Unhealthy Relationships, I talk about the mindset, the inner work, and the outer work, the body work. The mindset work and the inner work, we have to first uncover our core beliefs, Carla. Because Carla, if we don't uncover our core beliefs, we cannot outpower, our conscious mind cannot outpower our subconscious mind. If we don't know the things that are fueling us, or that are creating that belief system, and that are creating the things that we are projecting on the people, our belief system, or our sensitivities, or why I reacted that certain way, then how can we truly create the life that we really want to wake up to each and every morning if we're still asleep, metaphorically? So we have to go on a journey and start uncovering our core beliefs. And I'm going to share with you what people's core beliefs are. So get your pens and papers out, because I want you to start knowing and having that PhD in your own history. The first thing is we have to reflect on our upbringing. Again, this is never to blame our parents or where we've come from, right? Because it's all part of our lessons. I needed to grow up in a small town in upstate New York called South Fallsburg, and then move to Long Island, then move to the Bronx, and then move to Florida. I needed to have those steps in order to be the person that I am today. So reflect on your upbringing. Reflect on your childhood and your early life experiences. What comes up for you when you think about it that's painful, or like, oh, I don't want to think about it, I want to push that away, or what comes up in delight and happiness? Because these early experiences, whether we like them or not, are going to shape our core beliefs. So think about those messages that you received, whether it's from your parents or your teachers, or, there was a pharmacist. I was recently texting with my mom, asking her about the name of the pharmacist that was at our corner. Back then we called it the drugstore. It was really the pharmacy. But the name of the pharmacist, his name was Eddie, because he made such an impression on me. I don't necessarily knew him or had a personal relationship with him or his family, but I remember going into that corner, I'm going to still call it old school, drugstore, because he was delightful. And so having that conversation with my mom brought me back to those memories. So who were those teachers? Who were those people in your life, Anthony and Tiffany and Carla, that had an impact, or that were some type of significant figure in your life? Because Trey, if we don't think about this, about the messages that truly shaped our understanding of ourselves and the world around us, we're still going to be going around, as Dora Maria said this morning, and we're going to be projecting our beliefs and our experiences onto everyone else. Everyone else should think how I think because this is how I think. No. Right? So, number 2, identify the reoccurring themes, Linnell, in your life. We will rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. We will feel the same way in the different relationships. We will continue to not go after our dreams, or we'll stay in that same job even though we're dreaming about something else. And why is that? So, do you often find yourself in the similar situations or relationships? This is why we have to identify those reoccurring themes in our life, because these patterns, they're going to provide clues, just clues about your underlying belief. So, Mike, the third step, hope you're taking notes, is we want to challenge our assumptions. We want to challenge our assumptions. We want to identify assumptions that we make about ourselves, Tosh, because we make assumptions about ourselves, whether we know them or not, and about our world around us. Are these assumptions based on facts, feelings? Why do we have these assumptions that we're making about ourselves? Or why do we think the way that we're thinking? Or could they be influenced by our core beliefs? And I'm getting ready to share with you core beliefs. So I want you to challenge those assumptions and consider an alternative perspective. People tell me all the time, Monty, that I have a growth mindset. Julie, they say it all the time. But then when conflict comes about, or if someone comes with a different perspectives, I'm not going to get into this, but we can look at politically, right? Especially in the past couple of years, people are so divisive. But if you truly, truly stand firm in what you believe and what you know to be true, then why are you threatened by someone else that comes along that may believe something different if you are so strong in what you believe? Can you sit and hear the other person's thoughts and their beliefs without becoming offended? Can you truly be curious? To me, that shows me just how strong you are, Mary Kim. When you can sit and you are firm in who you are and what you believe, and you can hear someone else's differences of opinion or experiences without being threatened by it. Number 4, and then we're going to get into core beliefs. Journaling is a tool. It's not going to solve all of your problems, but it is a tool, and it can be a powerful tool for self-discovery. This is where you can write your thoughts, Erica, your feelings and your experiences. And I really want you to consider looking for patterns and themes in your writing that may point to some of your core beliefs. And I wouldn't be a therapist if I didn't say this. Go to therapy or get a coach, get someone to guide you in the process for accountability. I know for me, I'm someone for my goals and the things I want to do in my life, Rocky, I need accountability. Right now, I'm probably in so many different accountability groups, whether it's with a therapist or coach, or just in a couple of different entrepreneur groups to help me fulfill my goals. So I want to talk to you about the beliefs that shape your life. Take some notes right here, Erica, because I want to share with you a list of core beliefs, and think about what you identify with. because we all have core beliefs. And these are common, painful beliefs that were imprinted, or the interpretations that we made from painful experiences that exists as the story of ourselves in the subconscious level. So sometimes people oh, I don't recognize, I don't think I have any core beliefs, or I'm not sure about that. Nicole, they'll say that to me, but I can look at the themes or the pain points that continuously show up in your life, and that will tell me something about your core belief. So these are a few. I'm not good enough. I am bad. I'm not good enough. I am bad. I'm stupid. I'm unseen. I'm unheard. Or James, sometimes people feel like they don't belong. And that's why they come to groups like Clubhouse or other types of groups, as they're looking for a place to belong. But that can also mean the greatest need that you have on the other side could be their greatest pain point. Or I'm disconnected. I'm rejected. And if any of you are familiar with attachment theory, if you have an anxious avoidant attachment, sometimes you can sabotage relationships because ultimately you are anticipating someone to reject you, or you're anticipating that someone's going to leave you from an abandonment wound. So subconsciously, you are going to sabotage that relationship before they get a chance to do it, because you believe it's already going to happen. Or what you'll do is you'll test it. You'll test it, Dr. Jackie. Some other core wounds. I'm abandoned and I'm alone. You can be in a room full of a group of people, or you can have all the evidence in the world to show that you are loved and that you are not alone, but yet you still feel alone and like no one understands you and no one gets you. Or I'm weak. Or I'm unworthy. I'm unimportant. I'm disliked. If people really knew me, they wouldn't like me. I'm excluded. Or I'm trapped. I'm stuck. Some people are feeling like that as they come into another year. They feel like they're stuck. And they're trying to rah-rah and motivate themselves to not be stuck. But the very thing that's holding you back could be your very core belief that you have yet to bring to your consciousness. Or I'm unloved. Or I'm unsafe. Sometimes when I see some of my clients have these huge reactions to something that may not necessarily cause for that huge reaction, I'm looking at when we have historical reactions. It's history. It's historical. When we have these huge reactions that are not proportionate to whatever stimulus is, there's something historical there. Or I'm helpless. Have you ever felt helpless, Sonia? Or what about I'm defective? I'm misunderstood. I'm disrespected. Or lastly, I'm powerful and I have no control. So quickly, I just share with you some of the main core beliefs. I'm not enough. I'm bad. I'm stupid. I'm unseen, unheard. I don't belong. I'm disconnected. I'm rejected. I'm abandoned, alone. I'm weak. I'm unworthy. I'm unimportant. I'm disliked. I'm excluded. I'm trapped. I'm unloved. I'm unsafe. I'm helpless. I'm defective. I'm misunderstood. I'm disrespected. I'm powerless and no control. So what beliefs stood out to you as I read those statements? What do you find yourself feeling the most often from the words that I just used? Maybe it's not good enough, which seems to be a common one. I'm not enough, or I'm abandoned. So one of the other things, and you may need a lot of help or accountability with therapy if you resonate with any of these. But the second part is, how do we? There's good news, people. There's good news here on this Therapy Thursday. And that is that we can reprogram those beliefs with what we call auto suggestions. We can reprogram them. Isn't that the good news? Latoya, Carla, and Patricia on Clubhouse is good news that we can reprogram it. It doesn't matter if you're 30, 40, 50, 65, 75. You can reprogram those beliefs. But first, before we can reprogram those beliefs, is you have to be able to target your beliefs to the absolute root level. For example, I'm not good enough, right? That's a root level. And at some point, if you've done any work, you understand, Sue, that someone may not have come to you and said, Janie, you're not good enough. Janie, you're not good enough. They never said, Patricia, you're not good enough, right? These are going to be what we interpreted from our world, what we felt from our world, and we've now taken on the belief system ourselves and how it shows up, perhaps in procrastination, or perhaps in busyness and not productiveness, or perhaps that pattern that keeps showing up in your life. That's the root level. But those painful projections that we have stored as beliefs about ourselves, they can be very disempowering, and they can direct our lives without even realizing it. Metaphorically, I like to use the term, that's when the monkey's getting on Janie's bus. The monkey's driving the bus, not Janie, right? That's the core belief that is driving the decision. And we have to recognize that, because it will happen without us even realizing it. So one of the things, I'm going to give you some quick steps. When we think about that primary core subconscious belief that's causing our thought, our emotional, and our behavioral limitations, like, for example, not good enough, we can recondition it, and we can focus on the principle of the subconscious by reprogramming two things: repetition and emotion, repetition and emotion, repetition and emotion. You may need to break this down, but I'm giving you some quick cliff notes of how to do this to equilibrate that painful belief. So, for example, if your belief is, Lydia, that I'm not doing, or I'm not enough, that's a major source of chronic fatigue, and it will exhaust your nervous system and your adrenals. Have you ever really had your cortisol levels taken? How are you doing with that stress hormone? The level of cortisol and adrenaline, that thought pattern of I'm not good enough, that will exhaust you over time. And that is what we consider a root cause issue. And without me going too far into it, it will affect your health, which is why I talk about it in my TEDx talk: the mindset, the inner work, the body work. We have to get all three stirring. We can't just do work in our mind. We also have to do it in our body, and we have to do it in our subconscious level. So how do we reprogram that? First, what do we want to feel? So if I feel I'm not good enough, well, I want to feel I'm doing enough, right? And this is going to require constant repetition plus emotion to recondition. So what I want you to do, this is a very practical example that you all can start doing today on this Therapy Thursday, is for example, if your core wound is I'm not enough, and you want to reprogram that I am doing enough, I'm enough, then I want you to, at some point today, preferably in the morning or in the evening, I want you to find 10 to 15 pieces of evidence to where and why and how you are doing enough. You have to look for things in your world to show you that belief that you want to believe, that I am doing enough. You have to look for the evidence, because if not, our subconscious mind is going to be looking for the evidence constantly. It's going to just kind of be like autopilot. We're going to be looking for evidence that I'm not enough, whether you realize it or not. That's what you're going to be looking for. So we have to now reprogram, and we have to reprogram through autosuggestion. So if I want to feel I am doing enough today, I want you to look for 10 to 15 pieces of evidence of where, of why, and how you're doing enough. And I want you to try to find 1 to 3 examples, and I want you to check in each of the areas of your life, right? So there's 7 areas of life. So if you've done your vision board this year, or as we heard Glenn Lundy on Clubhouse this morning, Rise and Grind, talking about doing a life audit, the 7 areas of life, if you have your pen and paper, is going to be career, finances, family, spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, and social. Career, finance, family, spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, and social. And then I want you to try to feel the emotion in your body. This is going to be what we call anchoring the nervous system when you're thinking of your response. So if I'm feeling like I'm doing enough, I want to feel the emotion of happiness, of joy, of contentment, the good feelings as I'm thinking about that I'm enough. And relationships, I see a message. Relationships include romantic relationships, friendships, family relationships. You define what those relationships look like in your life. So, for example, and then I'm going to end with this. I do want to hear a couple of people, at least on Clubhouse. If you're on any of the other channels, you can go ahead and make a comment in the comment area. But I want you to think about, like, for example, the prompt for I'm not doing enough. So I want you to think about the different core beliefs that you want to reprogram. So it'll be, I'm doing enough. I'm enough. And I want you to remember to look in all of the 7 areas of life. And then I want you to think about, well, in my career area of life today, I am doing enough because I'm on live. I'm sharing information to continue to give out information that I know is going to help people, right? Whatever that may be for you. So you would answer the question, in my career area of life today, I am enough when I fill in the blank, look for evidence of it, and then do that for each of the areas that I just named. So in my financial area of life today, when I've made good spending choices, I set goals, I am doing enough. All right. So constantly look for evidence in those areas of life to go along with how you want to feel. And when you do that, morning or evening, let's say even for the next 30 days, ultimately for 90 days would be the ultimate goal. But even if you wanted to use 21 days, right? And sometimes the golden number, you do that every single day. I'm giving you the Cliff Note version of how to reprogram your subconscious mind. Identify your core belief. Look for how you want to feel. And then look for evidence of how you want to feel in your life. And each and every day, check in, write in your journal, in the 7 areas of life, the evidence that shows that you are doing how you want to feel. And that is how you do auto-suggestion, and that is how you reprogram your subconscious in the most basic form. Gave you a very practical tip. So with that being said, I want to open it up on Clubhouse and hear a couple of comments or thoughts. You can just unmic and say your name. Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning. It's Linnell Burns.
Hi, Linnell.
Good to hear you. It's been a long time. Just want to thank you for really doing exercise this morning, because we don't really realize sometimes that the small wins that actually anchor that feeling of accomplishment to you. And so I think that's very important for everyone to understand. We're always looking for the big stuff. I want to be recognized for the big stuff so that everyone else can cheer for me. But it's really, can you cheer for yourself? And when you're in that frame of mind, that the little win is something that is worthy of you recognizing, then you can anchor that feeling. So thank you so much for the reminder. This is Linnell Burns. I'll go ahead and pass the mic back over to you.
Thank you, Linnell, and thank you for that reminder as you go out into the world and everyone else goes out into the world today to look for wins. Because if we're going to look for things that are not going to go right and they're going to be stressful, then we're also going to find them. So let's go out and do some digging and look for the wins. Thank you, Linnell. Anyone else? Go ahead and open your mic. Say your name. What's your comments? What's your thoughts?
Yes, I would love to. Good morning. How are you doing? Beautiful, Dr. Janie. Oh my gosh, I love how you communicate so beautifully. Okay, listening audience, did you take those tips? I would like, listening audience, for you to throw up some hearts right now for the amazing Dr. Jane. And please, if you're enjoying this information, share out this room to somebody you know who would appreciate this valuable information, because what I 100% agree on is what you look for is what's going to be validated in our...
Oh, I think Can't hear you. I think we lost you.
Oh, man.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, sorry, you guys. So please, I love you. Keep validating yourself. Always validate yourself and look for the amazing things because I promise whatever you're looking for, it's going to find you. Big hug.
Thank you so much for appreciating you coming in and sharing your flowers. I will always take flowers. I'm still alive, so thank you for that. And then also validating that we are going to continue to be goal diggers in a sense that we're going to be looking to things to validate our goals of reprogramming our subconscious mind so that we continue to look for wins. We have some time for more comments, so love to hear any comments or questions or thoughts. Hi, Carolyn.
Hi. I totally agree with what you're saying. And so belief systems, so what we think of ourselves is often a mirror about what we've been taught about the models of who we are. Often, sometimes when we don't think we are enough is because that's the message we've been given or we have perceived it to be so. So celebrate yourself. And what is a small win? What actually is the small win? Getting out of bed, as Mary Lynn said earlier in the show before. Sometimes just making sure that you've had an actual decent meal. So what is your win? And celebrate yourself. I'm going to leave it at that and let room for other people.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Celebrate, look for those wins, getting out of bed, breathing. We're here today and we're able to have this conversation, which is a win. We probably have time for one more 30-second comment. And if not, then we will.
I will just say, Dr. Janie, initially when I first heard you, it was your energy, your spirit, your calming way. You talk with the audience that attracted me. And that is the word anchor. Just resonates. You're an anchor for me. And I, too, am glad to call you friend. So with that, I will hand over.
Thank you so much, Marilyn. I appreciate you. Keep shining your light. And with that being said, this is Dr. Janie Lacy on Therapy Thursday. And go out, celebrate those wins, look for the evidence that you are enough or whatever you want to feel. And until next time, I'm turning it over to Lolita Walker. Good morning, Lolita.
Good morning, Lolita. Are you back?